Hello Internet, and welcome to my live reaction for Fire Force Chapter 241. When we last left our heroes, the gang all headed to Amaterasu, picking up Ogun on the way in a great, declaration from Arthur. Lisa and Yu showed up to accompany Vulcan, into Amaterasu to I think it was just doing some scouting, just kind of investigating what's going on in there right now. While the rest of the gang set up their barricade to stop the White Clads from getting into Amaterasu and activating the switch to start the cataclysm. And right as they've done that, who should enter but Charon and Ritsu, and from somewhere else, Dragon. So yeah, let's jump right on into chapter 241, The Guardian's Path. Our picture here is an image of a sun with a very, realistic looking face on it, with just the word sun written around it over and over and over and over again. Chapter 241, The Guardian's Path. Also, instead of the white that's normally the background surrounding the picture, it's white with broken up black lines. I'm not entirely sure what that's meant to signify, but it's definitely signifying something. Anyway, so we open, back at the barricade line, as all of Ritsu's zombies are also, surrounding, the defenders. They've already got us surrounded, huh? These actually look to just be plain infernals, actually, not the kind of zombie shit Ritsu's done in the past. But either way, Hinoa, and I'm guessing Arrow as well, just start blasting them. Or at least it's just Hinoa for now. And Hinoa calls out, "Someone's controlling them." And Arrow clarifies, "It's Ritsu's Necropyro, I guess." "Well, let's get to it, Arrow. Don't let them close in." And Arrow readies her bow. "Same to you." I mentioned this last week, I think. But I do very much love the parallels of, Arrow and Hinoa's first meeting as that incredible fight in the first Nether arc, to now, the two of them on the same side, taking down Infernals. Anyway, Hinoa uses his bullet speed control acceleration to just blow up a whole slew of Infernals. And Ogun just utterly shocked. "Holy crap! That's no ordinary shotgun!" And Tamaki is just already praying. "The flame is the soul's breath. The black smoke is the soul's release." Then Arrow also uses what I think is a move we haven't seen before. Cluster Arrow. And she shoots it into the sky, and a bunch of flaming arrows all rain down onto the Infernals from above. Just leading to this huge, mushroom cloud-looking explosion. And Hinoa tells her, "Nice work. Same to you." A sudden fear just crept into my head, that Okubo is gonna suddenly force Hinoa Arrow as, an endgame pairing. And I hope that doesn't happen, because it's not built up at all. And not just because I'm a diehard Hinoa Obi shipper, not that I think that's going to happen, but I just don't want it to actively not happen. Also, I don't think this is a series that really needs to have endgame pairings at all, given how little time has been spent on that. Anyway, that random fear out of the way, let's continue. Maki calls to Tamaki, "Tamaki, take down any Infernals that survived the barrage." "Roger," and we see Tamaki's already gotten her little, flame ears ready. And just then, Arrow notices something, presumably Ritsu. "I knew it." And yep, there's Ritsu. Come to me, great Infernal." And we see, I guess she's, combined these Infernals together, the same kind of shit she did with Nitaku. But these are just kind of janky looking. And Tamaki yells, "Such massive Infernals! Just how many lives are you toying with?" But she jumps into battle, presumably thankful for all that training she got in the Stigma arc, and just destroys them. or at least so there's actually like a line of regular infernals behind the great infernals, and it looks like Tamaki is taking out a whole line of them. And Maki calls back, "Let's handle the regular infernals. Leave the giant ones for the lieutenant and Arrow." And we see Hinoa's already started shooting at one of the giants. Arrow joins in too, but as Arrow shoots it, Charon gets in the way. And Charon is much better equipped to fight Arrow than he is to fight Hinoa. Because, you know, Arrow just uses pure flame. Hinoa, if he tried to, like, absorb a bullet, he just get shot. And I figured, though, this confrontation from Charon and Arrow will lead to the title of the chapter, The Guardian's Path, given they were both guardians for their respective pillars. Anyway, and yeah, Charon lunges for Arrow in a great panel. Traitor! But then someone slugs Charon. And it's Ogun who sends him flying. But he very quickly catches himself. And Ogun, goes for another punch. "You gotta go through me first." And the two of them, like, clash fists. And another great panel. This is just a major winner for panel composition. And Charon readies his counter. But it's not quite enough, as before we can land the counter, Ogun just goes ham on him, throwing a flurry of fists, and lands one right in his gut. Charon is just stunned. "What? Rush down, boy. Ain't no way I'm giving you an opening for a counter." So I guess he's been briefed on what Charon's abilities are. And he slams Charon into the ground. I'm kind of shocked Charon, like, I don't actually think Charon's gonna go down this easily, just because, like, he's Charon, and he's been built up for, like, so many chapters. But also, he's kind of getting beat. And Ogun hasn't even activated his full-on, like, Inky form. But anyway, Charon very quickly collects himself. He jumps back. He's perfectly fine. And Ogun says, "Felt like my punches barely did anything." And Charon just grins. "That was like a storm of fists. I wonder how many hits I took." And Ogun says to him, "I really don't get what you White Clads are trying to do." And Charon just smiles. "Ruin is the whole point. We're human, after all. The collective unconscious, humanity's collective thoughts, is asking for it." I mean, I guess, technically. But that's specifically because the White Clads have manipulated them into that for like 200 years, so I don't know if it really counts, Charon. But Ogun counters, "Well, even if that's what humanity wants, a fire soldier's mission is to protect the people." But Charon responds, "That's ego talking. You have any idea how many people in this world want to die?" Okay, so that's the route we're taking this. Ogun responds, "Even so, if they keep on living, they'll be glad they did. I won't stand to watch you destroy that chance." "They'll be glad they lived? Like hell that'd happen. Stop getting in our way." Ogun just snaps, "Like hell? How can you even say that?" And then we see Charon, like, glowering at him, because Haumea's been hearing it since the moment she was born. Even now, as the cataclysm comes, she hears it. Man's true nature, the pitch darkness in the very deepest parts of man's heart. Humanity's despair is tied into Idola. Haumea kept on observing it until it destroyed her. The collective unconscious is bursting with mankind's deep black thoughts. Okay. That's a whole sentence. So basically, what it looks like he's saying, is that as a result of Haumea's mind reading or mind manipulation abilities, she's also tapped into she can respond to the collective unconscious, which I think is a new thing for Haumea, unless I'm missing something. But Charon continues, can you even imagine it? When other kids were crying for mommy, she was dealing with that. And Ogun just kind of looks at him. She's been tuned into mankind's filthy, greedy, murderous thoughts since she was a kid who didn't know right from left. And she endured it. Do you think someone like her wants to go on living? I'm going to bring about the cataclysm. I'm going to free Haumea from that hell. So I saw someone comment earlier. I forget if it was on the comment section of a prior video or on the Reddit or on MangaDex or something about not understanding why but the Fire Force hasn't really explored why people in death cults join death cults. And here we have Charon distinctly laying it out. He's doing it for Haumea, who is like basically a daughter to him, as we saw in the Haijima flashback in the anime last week. The whole how to be a good parent book Charon was reading. And so for her sake, he's ending the world for her. Which is interesting, because I'm kind of curious if Haumea, like, sure, Haumea wants to, end the world and all, but I'm curious if Haumea sees herself as a pitiable figure that Charon is presenting her as. But anyway, Ogun throws off his jacket. I'd heard from the reports you were strong, but it seems like you've got a strong heart too. Respect. And Charon just looks at him. But I'm a fire soldier. I'm here to stop the cataclysm. And he squares off against him. He has nothing but respect for a respectable man. The Guardian's pride is on the line. Round 2, fight. So we continue in chapter 242, The Woven Lineage. Okay, so we're fully getting ready for Ogun versus Charon, which is not the final Charon fight I was expecting. I mentioned last week or the week before, really being a little upset that we were losing our Shenra Charon rematch, and also our Arthur Haumea rematch. Though I did not say that last time, that is something I realized over the past week, is that with Haumea and Adola, she'll never get to fight Arthur again, which I'm a little sad about. But anyway, so the first part of this chapter, before the dialogue starts, let's focus on just the fighting, is fantastic. There's some great shot compositions here, some great showcases of Hinoa and Arrow's powers against the Infernals. Every single panel after Charon joins the fight is great. I love this shot of him lunging for Arrow. The shot of Ogun sending Charon flying. The two fists clashing is another great one. There's great full page of Ogun slamming Charon into the ground. It's a rush. It is an adrenaline-filled rush, and it's incredible. I mean, I've always said Fire Force's fights are fantastic for just how incredibly tactile they are, and this is that up to 11. It's great. I will say, though, like I kind of alluded to earlier, this new idea that Haumea has tapped into the collective unconscious is new. I'm pretty sure this hasn't really been an established element of Haumea's abilities. It almost makes sense to me, and I can basically follow it, but it is a little thrown out. But it's mostly just there to really get a read on why Charon is here. And it shows that, to the very end, he is here for Haumea. He is here for the child that he really raised, to save her from the despair that at the very least Charon is projecting Haumea as feeling. How Haumea actually takes that, like I alluded to earlier, is a little I don't really see Haumea viewing herself as pitiable, like Charon seems to be doing. Um, but it does kind of provide some more shading as to why Charon is doing the things that he has been doing this whole time. Um, and also, something that just came to me is the name Charon. Because Charon, so as we know, most of the White Clads, with the exception of like Haumea and presumably will be, I'd assume, Charon and like Sumire and maybe Ritsu and Inca, all use code names, right? And I assume Charon was just like his name, maybe? Because it looked like Pillars and Guardians don't use that. Except Charon, in Greek mythology, is the ferryman of the dead. He takes people to the underworld. And Charon here specifically wants to, seemingly, like the Cataclysm would mean that he wants to kill Haumea to save her. He's kind of her ferryman of the dead. Or his desire to bring about the Cataclysm also makes him a ferryman of the dead for the whole world, though that could apply to all of the White Clads, so I don't think it works quite as well. Anyway, the chapter is a lot of fun, and I'm really excited to see, especially given both Ogun and Charon's powers are very physical, are very tactile, and the ways that all the best Fire Force fights are. I am very pumped for seeing Charon versus Ogun continue. There is this line though, the Woven Lineage, as next chapter's title. I'm not sure what that might be about. I can kind of see Woven as applying to the Inky form that Ogun has, if that's like a family trait, maybe. Because I can't think of anything else that would be woven. And tattoos aren't woven, but I can kind of see the pattern as evoking the word woven. I'm not sure. Anyway, this chapter is thrilling. It's great. It's wonderful. It's a Fire Force fight at its absolute best. And Fire Force fights are already great. So, yeah, that's all I have to say for this video. Hope you all enjoyed the chapter and the video itself. If you did, feel free to drop me a like or subscribe or, do whatever makes you happy, And remember, your life is your own, okay? Bye!